of the great uses for Photometric Toolbox to help you determine whether a luminaire under consideration is going to be applicable for your project. And Toolbox has several tools to help with that depending on the type of luminaire that you're considering. The indoor report, the road report, and flood report give tons of information. Let's consider indoor reports first. There are two tools in Photometric Toolbox that will be helpful, the indoor report and the compare tool. There's so much information in an indoor report that rather than list it here, let's go right to Toolbox to check it out. Now first I may need to place a check mark in the box for the luminaire that I'm interested in. So for the indoor fixture, ZL Road LED is not going to do. That's an outdoor fixture. I'm going to select the ZLF3.IES and make sure that the rest of these are not checked because they're not the ones I'm interested in. I could check more than one, and I'd end up opening an indoor report for each one. Right now I just want to do an indoor report for ZLF3. The indoor report button is this one right here. As you can see here on the summary tab, there's lots of good information here, including luminaire efficiency here and CIE type for this fixture, that's semi-direct, and we have the spacing criteria for the luminaire and so on. Some of these metrics are described in the help topic for this command, found by clicking on this help button over here. And we also describe and explain many of the terms used here in our webinar called Understanding Luminaire Photometry. On the Zonal Lumens tab, some codes are beginning to restrict the lumens that are emitted in various zones around the luminaire. And the Zonal Lumens tab has this information. Here's the Zonal Lumens summary here. A CU table is provided in case you should want to do hand calcs just for fun, right? As well as those polar curves again. Now, any or all of the information in an indoor report may be sent to a printer. Print button over here. And the same goes for the road report and the flood report, which we'll be looking at shortly. Also useful is the copy command, which shows up in a lot of places in many of these tools. There's one right down here. It's a little hard to see. I'm going to go back to the CU table. There's another one there. Zonal Lumens has one here and one here. So if you click a copy button, like any of these that I just showed you, then the image or text, as the case may be, will be copied to the clipboard, enabling you to paste it someplace else. Very handy. Let's say that you want to compare 2 or 3 luminaires in order to determine which might be better for your design. Photometric Toolbox's Compare tool is great for that. First, we put check marks in the luminaires that we want to compare. So I'm going to select the ZLF2 and the ZLF3. So with 2 check marks in there, I'm ready to make a comparison. And then I click the Compare Photometric Data Files button. It looks kind of like a balance. And we need to select the basis for the comparison. There are a bunch of choices here. Most of them are for outdoor. The one for indoor is called Indoor Report. And by clicking on the Report Setup button, we can select or deselect the items that we want to include in the report over here. So this is the long list to select from, and anything that's checked here in the left field will end up over here in the right, and then we can change the order of any items by clicking the Move Down or Move Up buttons. Let's go to the, I'm going to close this, and go to the 2D Compare Plot tab. Now here we see the vertical slices taken through the maximum candela value for each luminaire. The green one is the ZLF3, and the red curve over here is the ZLF2. And we can see at a glance that the ZLF3 has much more light directed downward toward nadir. That's the green curve. The ZLF2, the red curve, has much more light upwardly directed and kind of broad, right? At least at this vertical slice, it's kind of a broad distribution on the ZLF2. Now I can also display the vertical and horizontal curves at the same time, like that, but I'm going to uncheck the vertical curves up here and just leave the horizontal checked here. And so now we're looking at the shape of the horizontal cone for each luminaire as it passes through its maximum candela value. Now both of these curves don't happen at the same vertical angle. If you look over here, you can see the ZLF3 passes through or happens at 12.5 degrees, which is a downward angle, and the ZLF2, the red curve, happens at 135 degrees vertical, which is an upward angle. I can make the match if I just pick the same curve here from both of these lists, then I can make the match. If I select match angle here, then the second one is made to match the first one. So now these are both taken at the upward angle of 135 degrees vertical. Now, as great as this is, it can be a bit difficult to picture, difficult to get the gestalt, if you will, the big picture. So the 3D compare plot tab will help us there. Okay, so now we have two photometric webs that are superimposed, right? Again, the ZLF2 is the red and the ZLF3 is the green, the two different fluorescent luminaires. What we're looking at here is the heads-up display, HUD for short. It's checked over here. If I want to see where the maximum candela angles are, put a check mark right there, and it shows maximum candela here and here, here. What we're looking at tells us here what we're looking at is type C angles from a type C photometric report. You can see that the angles go from 0 to 90 to 180 to 270 horizontal, and from 0 to 180 vertical. Those are the type C measurement angles. Now the nature of this display can be changed from solid, which we see here, to lines, which is here. If we like that view better, notice the copy command down here, a little copy button, so we can copy this to the clipboard and put it in another document if we wanted to, paste it someplace else. This image. One more fun thing we can do here, click in this box for tumble. And now the luminaire is tilted and turned around all three major axes. And the speed of turning can be set here by clicking on the settings button. So if I want to slow down, if I want to speed up or slow down the orient or the tilt or whatever, you can do that. I'd also like to mention that for help in understanding the vertical and horizontal angles in a luminaire photometric report, we have a little video that you can view on YouTube. You can either go to the address shown here on the slide, or you can go to agi32.com and then click on the YouTube link, which is over on the left side, or illumtools.com. It's on that one too. This little video we show in our Understanding Luminaire Photometry. Well, actually we don't show the video. Actually, we show something very much like the video, but with me narrating it. And the one that's online has Dave Spear narrating it. But in any case, it's the same. It's pretty much the same little presentation, and it's gotten really good reviews from people that have watched it and said, "Wow, no, everything's really clear." So I recommend that.